Hello, everybody. How are we today? Hello, Marisa, Twisted Hippie. Brett is here, Solid Fogel. Hi. The 40-year-old vegan. What's up? Liduli is right there, and he's also right there in the chat. That's Joe, and PF for Animals is here, and that's Brian Loves Bean. That's the person on the left. I think it's your first time on my channel, right, Brian?
That's true, yeah.
Okay.
I've really done the live or streaming stuff before.
Oh, okay. We are gathered here to discuss like IRL activism strategies or just outreach strategies in general. Joe has a few ideas. Brian has a few ideas as well. But first, Brian, you wanted to give us an update on something, right?
Sure, yeah, just I guess quick intro for me. I'm Brian Loves Beans. I do a lot of in-person, IRL activism. I'm a lot involved in pressure campaigns and do a lot with AEV, so a lot of in-person outreach in that framework, which has lots of things to learn from, pros and cons for sure. And then recently, been pretty involved in open rescue over this last year. Definitely been enjoying that, and I was involved in the 2 rescues at Ridgeland Farms this year, which was an experience for sure. If anybody's aware of that, there's animal testing facility in the United States. It's the second largest in the U.S. We've been in that facility multiple times trying to rescue animals, and rescued 22 dogs back in March, and then a couple weeks ago in April, we tried again. Maybe y'all have seen the social media stuff going around of people getting tear gassed and maced, and just tons of police force sort of using brutality to prevent us from getting the animals out there. But recently there was another organization that did agree to purchase the dogs, but at least the dogs will be released from that facility, and they won't be breeding any more animals. So all 1,500 of those dogs, well, not all, but 1,500 of the approximately 2,000 are coming out. And we're going to be up for adoption, going to be in loving homes soon. And that's started as of yesterday. They started removing animals, which has been really cool to see.
That's awesome. I think some of my audience at least are aware of this because when I saw on Instagram the gassing and stuff, I went live, and I covered it a little bit of reporting on the thing on my channel. And so Ridgeland Farms are going to be closing down, or why are they not going to breed more animals?
Yeah, so they've had ongoing, the Simple Heart Initiative is the organization that's been working to put pressure on Ridgeland Farms and sort of hold them accountable for what they do as a business. They've been doing that for about a decade now. And part of their lawsuits and everything they've been working through in court, Ridgeland had agreed to surrender its breeding license on June 1st. So that's why there'll be no more dogs that are bred. And then, there's rumors at this time, they sort of have conflicting info on whether the full research wing of the facility is also going to be shutting down. That's, sort of the breaking news, more to follow in the weeks to come, but they will definitely no longer be breeding animals, which is great.
Okay, perfect. Joe, can you say a few things, because I was told in the chat that the sound, Brian sounds like a little too loud. How about you?
A few things, because I was told in the chat that Brian was a little loud.
Okay, cool. I think Vegan Gaze, maybe that's better. Can I increase my mic even more? Yes, I can. I can increase my mic a little more. No, you're
Brian,
fine. I've reduced my levels on my side. No worries.
You can do it on your
end. On Discord, okay. You can right-click a person and adjust user volume, so.
Yeah, I've done that. So I hope everybody's sound decent. Thank you to STTP. What else can we hope for after about 3 years of streaming at least once a week? So pros are we not going to become, but all right. Joe, would you like to begin showing us what we're going
to do? Yeah. So we're kind of planning on doing some IRL outreach, kind of similar to what you might see, like Earthling Ed do, or Danny Ishay's doing it. Now I've been seeing on Instagram, kind of like vegan tabling. Let me share my screen. I started up a Google Doc. Let me share a window. There we go. And if you guys can let me know if you can see that. So kind of the intent here is to I'm kind of inspired by Justin from Debug Your Brain, where you kind of ask some questions up front to kind of gauge if the person isn't a sociopath, which is helpful because there are going to be a select few individuals in the world that just don't give a shit. You know,
Joe, can you increase a little bit of zoom on your side? Because when I increase it on my side, it looks terrible. Perfect. Really good.
There we go.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so kind of, inspired by Justin, kind of lead in with some, inspiring sounding quotes, like call to action type quotes. It would just be one of these quotes per individual that we outreach. And so first, also, like, if anyone in the audience has suggestions, feel free to type them in and we can go through the chat as well. I'm sure there's people with IRL activism experience in the chat. I know L, Vegan Gaze, definitely has done a bit. One thought is to have a sign for the table. I know Justin's sign was help me grow my YouTube channel and answer thought-provoking questions. So this one's just straight up stolen from Debug Your Brain. Mm-hmm. And he seems to have had good experience with that. And it also kind of weeds out people who aren't going to want to have a more philosophical discussion. Because if it's just like, hey, what's going on here? This looks interesting. It might not be someone who's going to necessarily want to talk, philosophy and talk morals and ethics. So that's probably a good way to gauge for that is you're not going to get people sitting down thinking it's like, hey, this is just a thing. I'm going to be on YouTube. Cool. Kind of weeds those people out. And then another one is answer thought-provoking questions, get a free cookie, burrito, coffee, etc. Obviously all vegan, of course. Might do like a cookie bake in the morning and then, give out cookies for people who participate. And then obviously the third thing is ask if they're 18 or older and comfortable being filmed and get clear verbal consent because this has already happened on Discord outreach. And when you're streaming and stuff, it's like, oh shit, this person's like 15. This is a child. Probably not good to be filming that individual. And which I've seen IRL outreach videos of like outreaching children and stuff, which I don't really feel comfortable with, especially for the kid. If they like look back and find that video in the future, they might be really kind of embarrassed and they're also just like, I don't really think they can give informed consent to be on a public video. So,
I mean, technically, like according to law and stuff, and like even like ethical concerns, yes, they can. But you draw your personal lines. It's obviously absolutely fine.
Yeah, for sure. I guess technically, it's legal to film in a public space and all that.
No,
so I don't know if
it's
you guys
like so I work in a job where informed consent is taken very seriously, and people who are over 16 able to give consent according to institutional review boards, as far as I know.
Gotcha. So do you think 16 might be the age here, or
that's up to you?
Kind of more of a subjective.
It's up to you. I'm just informing you. Hello, BG. What's up?
Hello. I was asked to join, and I was just going to say, when it comes to like, I think in the UK, I think it's like 16, but like, I just don't, if I see someone who's very young and I already feel a bit awkward on the street, I feel like when you get out there, if you're talking to a child, you're just not going to want to, like show them on the internet, because I think you'll find it difficult to be like, okay, well, I remember being this young and saying such silly things, and it's a really weird concept that I could have said something embarrassing when I was a child and it goes online. So I think you would just probably end up not doing it, even though it is technically permissible. And I think it will make you feel a bit icky, is my speculation.
Yeah, 16 to 18 is like this weird place when it comes to informed consent. They can have informed consent, but for instance, in our practice, we still ask them to call their parents just in case. just to discuss it with them because they are still legally minors. So yeah, I think 18 is fine. I just wanted to say like, just, I don't know, add stupid nuance. That's what I wanted to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it'd be case by case. Like even someone who's like an adult, you may just through interacting with them think they don't really have the capacity in this situation to give me an answer that's not going to be kind of, you know, like embarrassing for them. So yeah, the nuance would be good.
Yeah, so anyone have comments so far on just like basically the sign on the table and any other comments with respect to like the food, giving out free food?
Free food is always good. It's really hard to get people over. You will not usually have, you know, I forget what to call it, but you know, like a click-through rate. People will go past you. But food is like a massive way to get them over and feeling like they have to just hear you out because you've given them something.
It's interesting. Yeah, I definitely think food is worthwhile. However we go about that, definitely want to do it. One of the interesting things with the, I guess, consent and like speaking to kids, this would be specific for like, if like when filming, I would say, right? Like in a filming environment. Because one of the things that I find speaking to children or younger people the most interesting sometimes. They haven't built up all these barriers. So they're like easier to reach at times. But I agree with this in terms of a on camera standpoint. But I do think that like speaking to kids, younger people, you just might have a higher like success rate, so to speak.
They don't have
Yeah.
all the carnage brain rot
Yeah.
infused into them yet.
I
Yeah,
don't
my
know. I think
Exactly.
16 and over already do have carnage brain rot. Gone, literally, sorry.
yeah, my spouse is a fourth grade teacher, and she has amazing success talking to her students about veganism. They're just like so open and curious about it, and there's like never brain rot debates. It's just like, damn, you're right. I shouldn't be eating meat. It's just like,
It's funny. Something to add to like food, whatever. Yeah, it's like there is like an own trick. For instance, I used to waitress quite a lot. In like tape, what is it called, waiting tables, whatever. In service, when somebody enters your establishment, right, and they look around, it's like the first time or something like that. To immediately like give them the menu just increases the chances that they're gonna sit down and order and whatever, right? Like if they come in and they aren't immediately given a menu, they just might leave because of, I don't know, some stupid shit like the light that they don't like or something like that. But once they have a menu, they have the thing that they come here for. So I think maybe a cookie is going to be something like that. And if you don't give out a cookie, a burrito, I don't know, maybe give them, maybe have like a few book leaflets type situation, like some of the information in books, which works really good for Alexandra, Radically Vegetarian. So she has like all of her, you were talking about getting a whiteboard, Joe. So she has all of her information already illustrated inside the book. So like maybe if you push the book closer to them or give it to them, that would like, the Radically Vegan is right here. You're welcome to join, Alexandra, if you want. I bet you're gonna be like incredibly helpful in this conversation. Would you like me to ping you? Let me know. No, like, no worries if you can't. That's fine. I just updated the folder. Yeah.
I was going to say to the point, and this is why I'm quite bad at outreach that requires you to grab someone to speak to them. Because there are things that you can do to get more people talking to you, and they make me feel quite uncomfortable to do. But it's things like, ask them questions quick fire, and then you just like go with it. Like just be like, oh, do you want to film? Yeah, excellent, let's do it. Like rather than just being like, oh, don't know if you'd be comfortable, but we're filming people. It's okay if not. And that's how I say it. And then they'll say no because they don't want to. But yeah, it's the way of wording things to your comfort level. But if you're a bit more like a salesperson about it, like that's how they grab people. They say specific things to make people who actually would have probably rather have gone stay for the conversation. So
Yeah, Joe, not necessarily give away the book. Pamphlets, people have no worth for them. So I would like maybe actually not use pamphlets at all. But if you have like what Alexandra is doing in her outreach, you have like a book, just push it closer to them, open it in a certain page or something like that. Like, I don't know, it things like it like increases their commitment to this conversation.
Oh, I
Maybe.
misunderstood. I thought the book you were speaking about was a takeaway. Gotcha.
Yeah. Alexandra, you have anything to add? No. Oh, can you not speak? That's okay. So, yeah, what's next?
Okay, so yeah, I instead of a book, I was planning on just having a whiteboard there. So a little background: we did a brain rot debate 2 days ago. Me, L, and postmortem, and I kind of tested the waters with basically this flowchart I've written, and I think postmortem you thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know. I've like I don't know. Whiteboard is a little maybe too intimidating. I don't know about that, right? Because reminds people of school and shit. But I thought the conversation went brilliantly because you were like typing out all the things that they were saying and asking them to like commit to it. Now that works in a conversation where a person says, yeah, the way that person said, yeah, I have like 3 hours. When the person's like, I have 10 minutes. I mean, that's like out the table then.
Yeah, it might
off the
be
table.
hard in a less formal setting.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's probably true.
yeah,
Maybe
when people are
intimidating
out and
and
about, they usually have a place to be. So you have to then condense what you're going to do. That's
yeah.
why things
So
like whiteboards might not be deployed. But like if you're going to make a big thing out of it and it's more of an event, then I think props will be more handy. But if you're just by a table, then maybe there might be other ways to do it.
yeah, so maybe like some of these example quotes, I would just have the quote written down already and like underlined or something so they can like read it along with me and then be reminded of it. And then maybe have the whiteboard as we go through this, it might make more sense. Rather than like writing out word for word what someone says, just like writing down one word they say so we can like go back to the main theme. And we can maybe, I'll put this as like just like a question for now. I'll just highlight it like red or something so we can, that's kind of like an unknown. So let's just go into like the start of the talk would be kind of how Justin does it. Do an example quote. This is the one I used the other day. I said, good people can do bad things, but when you know better, you should do better. And then see if, the person you're talking to agrees with that quote. And then the idea here is to kind of like, what are some examples you can think of, good people doing bad things? And
by the
kind
way,
of,
one sec.
Go
So
ahead.
Alexandra, are you willing to like share your book with other people, like your folder? Is that what you mentioned? Oh yeah, they say yeah. So
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I just want to explain very briefly in case you don't know what the folder is. So this is a tool that I'm using for 3 years now. And I recently updated it. The German version is now finished. I will post you a video in this chat here where you can see of how I used it in the past. This video is already over a year old, so I'm much better at having conversations right now. And also, this isn't the latest version, as I said. But just so you get an idea on how to use it. There we go. So it's just a folder, which is a combination of images of the practices that we do to other animals. But it starts off with an ethical part where I have, for example, an image of an object like a golden statue of a dog and an image of a real dog next to each other so that we can start visually with the ethical side of things before we show them how that affects how our treatment of other animals affects reality, and then you work it through. You don't have to go page by page, but you can use it as a tool to bring the information forward on the ethical side of things, but also on the practical side of things, on how to live vegan, how to interact with other animals, and so on. Yeah, and that's it in a nutshell. Hope I explained it good.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, if you can share, is it something I can like take to
Yes, I
a
can.
print shop?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I have all the print files online for free. I will send you the English version right now so you can skip through it, but this is not the updated version, okay? So it's not up to date, not at all. It looks way better now. It is much more coherent. It is much more correct in the ways that the positions are represented that make up a vegan fundament. I don't know how to explain it right now. But yeah, one second. I will show you the page, and then you can see the not updated version.
So,
So
just a
yeah.
quick question, kind of personally, do you think having it printed out is useful, or just having it like up on a laptop? Do you think, because I have like a
Um,
MacBook I can have, do you think that would be equally as useful or less useful?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm using it like it's there's also a digital version which you can use to skip through very easily, and I think it works in both ways, so you can test it out. I prefer the analog version because then you have something in your hand, which makes it a little bit more attention getting from the people because they look at screens all day. So, in my opinion, something printed on paper is always higher value. Yeah, exactly. When you scroll down to the English stuff, I think you have to click it. Yeah, exactly. And you scroll down. Yeah, exactly. And then there you can see just to get a glimpse of it on how it is made, but it looks much better now. So please ignore the design. It looks like trash. Um, and then you just have like different directions. Some pages are so the most of the pages are now not with much text, so that it's very easy for people to grasp. So the long texts are gone. Yeah. Um, yeah, and you can download it, and the updated version will go online in Friday in 2 weeks. I have to translate it now. And then you can use it on laptop, but I would always prefer a printed version, just from my experience.
Oh, this is
I
great. Thank
think,
you. Yeah.
yeah, I think a physical copy works better as well.
It's so cool.
And then,
Like, Alexandra, the first time I saw you do this, it took like 40 minutes. And I was like, that person has like time. But it was so brilliant the way you went through all of the stuff with him. And
Yeah,
it like really made him think and like connect with it, with this topic.
yeah.
These
The
side by
thing is, you don't
sides
have
are
to use,
awesome.
yeah, and you don't have to use all the pages one by one if it's not necessary with the person. But I did it for the sake of the video because I wanted to have one video online where I go into detail because people usually are okay with watching longer videos to understand a thing. But when you're on the fly with a person and they only have like 5 to 10 minutes, you can skip through it to get or look for the pages that are needed right now. So you don't always have to go page by page. So I use it very functionally, depending on the person in front of me.
gotcha. Yeah, I saw your the video you linked, and you have kind of little flags in the book. So it looks like you can
Yeah,
kind of skip to the
exactly,
salient points.
exactly. It's much better organized right now. It looks much better, and it's very handy actually, so that you're able to find whatever you need within a couple of seconds.
This is amazing. Yeah, so kind of I I'm definitely gonna want this, and yeah, kind of my goal is to upfront kind of do how Justin does it, gauge do like a quick sociopath test. I think he's called it, like make sure they're not an insane person and they have good
Yeah,
values. Because yeah, there are going to be a select few. I mean, there is empirical research now showing that it seems like most people have vegan values. There is like a 5 to 10%. I'm not sure what it is. The research is pretty spotty, but it's anywhere from like 5 to 15% of people are actually just like don't give a shit about
Some people
animals
suck.
or humans.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting that test out of the way. So I'm definitely going to print out your new one in 2 weeks and maybe print like 3 copies.
Amazing.
I love it.
Yeah, I will let you know, and we'll post it on the server for sure if that's okay. So you're all updated. And we will also have, like, I don't know if you know about that, but we do have a German podcast, Radical Loud Vegan. So we're just talking about all these things, and we will film one episode where we go through each page and discuss it, just to make sure that there are no questions open on how to use it and why the page is as it is. And the how do you say, the subtitles are very good actually on YouTube, so you can for sure watch the podcast with English subtitles later on once it's released. Just if you want to get even more information on the folder and how to use it, and what is to say about some images, for example, why I choose them over others, and yeah, I think additional information is always good.
And Joe, by the way, you can talk to Chip and you can create your own code for that 3-minute video, where every time a person accesses after the fact, right, after a conversation with
Yeah.
you, they have, after they watch the video, they have access to a trained AI, which will talk to the person and like gauge if the person is like willing to go vegan at that moment.
I see. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Yeah, I will see him the next days. He's coming to Berlin, so that's pretty cool. I will ask him for sure.
Yeah, I just remembered I wanted to put this in the doc, but that's like at the very end. The one reason I do want a laptop is to show the 3-minute video if they're willing. Obviously, ask for consent first. I've been reading Melanie Joy's book on effective vegan outreach and communication, and she has a really strong intuition that you should really ask for consent before showing shocking imagery. So I guess that would also apply to the book as well. And is that something you do, Alexandra? Do you ask for someone's consent before you're showing shocking footage or imagery?
No, I don't do that. I think with children it's something else, but we also have the mini folder, which is a version that is in simple language, which we created specifically suited to children and their families, so that it's child friendly, but also usable for people who are better at understanding simple language. And so this is the version that we use, and it's non-graphic. It is very child friendly. It's very cute. But for grown-ups, for adults who are responsible for that, I don't see a good reason not to show it to them. We are the news, basically. We are the lawyers, and this is the case. This is reality, and people have the right to be spoken to truthfully, and this is the truth.
Yeah, it seems like there's some differing opinions on that, and I'm not sure where I stand yet. And I'm open to trying. I might just be open to trying both approaches because I know Justin does that. He says, "Are you okay with watching a quick video? It's going to be violent." And then some other people, obviously, AV is like the complete opposite. It's like here's the freaking video, guys. It's on a giant TV.
Yeah. Me too.
So
I mean,
yeah,
look at the neon protest. Yeah, I prefer big images of what is going on. Really, I think because the situation is so dire with the other animals, and people are so used to exploiting them, that I think we have to use every tool, and their emotions are also a tool. And if it shocks them, or if it moves them, and if it makes them sad or angry or whatever emotion, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, because I think people get caught up on the response that happens there and then, but obviously conversations don't end when you stop speaking to each other, right? So you don't know how people are gonna feel when they come away. But an interesting observation is when you go to We the Free events, because they actually do both. They do the diamond, where it's quite clear to see when people are walking past graphic footage. But they'll also do the 3-minute movie challenge where they say this is going to shock you, like just to warn you, this is going to be a hard watch. So they don't have exact knowledge of precisely the the level of the graphic nature, but they know that they're in for something that's going to be shocking. And anecdotally, through myself and others, they have more honest or vulnerable conversations with the people who sat down willingly, and then they sat and watched the whole thing. Is that because they've sat there for the whole 3 minutes? So they haven't just passed by for 10 seconds? Is it because they are doing some sort of backfire effect because they feel like it's forced on them? And this nonsense, I don't know, but I think either is fine to do. I think they both generate some sort of outcome where we can actually just have that conversation. So I think whatever you're going to be best at and most comfortable with will probably generate the best outcome, because obviously if you're out there doing it and you feel comfortable with it, because I feel like I don't go to diamonds as much because I do feel kind of uncomfortable when I am there, and then I see a kid looking and their parents not watching, and I'm like, oh my god. But then a 3-minute movie challenge, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel more comfortable with it, so I'm more likely to go. So I don't know. But yeah, either I think are good.
Yeah, the backfire
I
effect
think
seems really prevalent with a lot of this kind of stuff. Is they, like you said, quote unquote, they feel forced, or like you're just like showing me. Also, there's also, I've seen this happen, and a lot of people will say like, "Oh, that's not all farms. They're just showing cherry picked," which obviously we know isn't true, but that might be like a coping mechanism that the carnist has.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't want to just forget that, because people talk about the backfire effect, and the conclusion seems to be that you should avoid it at all costs, but I'm unconvinced when things seemingly like the sleeper effect do exist. So if you've seen something that's quite challenging or upset you, people seem to believe that like that you're going to double down and that's the end of it, but I'm not convinced that that's the case. I think there's other complicated things happening in there over a span of time, so I don't want to just say don't do it just because it's going to upset people necessarily, but you know what I mean.
yeah, the only intent of asking this and then like asking the other person is to just have an effective communication with them, an effective conversation, because if they're just going to shut down emotionally and have, yeah,
Then
yeah,
then you're going to want to like make them feel like you haven't caught them off guard, and then they're really going to be sensitive to so much then. So if you want to do that, I would facilitate it with there's a challenge, it's a challenge, can you do you dare watch this? Like it will still get them to come and watch. Like the We the Free stuff, the 3-minute movie challenge is really successful on some days. Some days you've got a queue of people waiting to see what's going on. So if you want to do it more like that, it's more alluring, it's a challenge. Can you bring yourself to see what we got to see and then have a conversation afterwards? I would go
um,
for that.
what you can also do is to mirror the emotions, which also helps a lot in these conversations, because when people are very upset with it and you say, you know what, I'm upset about that too. I think it's absolutely terrible what we're seeing. And it made me cry when I saw it the first time. I think that's a very good experience to bond over to. I mean, we're emotional beings. And if we mirror other people and show them that we empathize with them, because, yeah, it feels fucking terrible to see that. Nobody likes that. I think that can be a good strategy as well. I also wanted to say one thing which might be a little bit interesting regarding the point of the brutality of the images. I also included in the new version of the folder not only the standard practices, which are in most cases, of course, horrible, like the gas chambers and so on. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I also included, for many cases, the highest welfare to show that even in that sense, it is not fair to the other animals, even when we have them in the best welfare standards, and they look good and happy and have the best food and whatsoever, the exploitation is still unjustifiable. And so when you look through the folder, it is not you open it and there are shocking images. Shocking images are specifically in one part of the folder, which is showing the stunning and the violent stunning and the killing. Of course, these images are brutal, But before that, it is not exclusively cruel or whatever. It just shows what we do to them, and even the best scenario is not just justifiable. That's the point. So we got to build the steel man of it. So the best argument of our opponent and attack it, which is what the folder aims to do.
Yeah, and probably you're gonna probably try a bunch of stuff and see what works, what doesn't, and it's probably the fact that different things are gonna be working on different people. So you're gonna have some success in each whatever you choose, right? So just choose the one that
Yeah.
has the most success or something, or that feels like the most number of people or types of people, if you can like categorize such a thing, would like react more positively to it.
Yeah. I think it's depending very much on the situation, the person, and the. I mean, you have a connection with people, right? It's not like we're talking robot to robot. We're talking sentient being to sentient being. So each connection is different. And when we feel that somebody is absolutely ready to see those images or to deal with them, I don't see a reason on to not show it to them. I mean, that's why I said when we have children, for example, that's another level because it's not the same. The connection is a different one, and they are affected by it differently. But yeah, with some people, for example, I don't know, there was once a very, very old, a very, very friendly lady, and she really wanted to, and there was a very nice conversation, of course, showing her out of the blue brutal, gory images wouldn't have done me a favor at all. I got through her like with standard practices, just like with normal images of animals too, so that she also could make the connection with them. So I think it's very depending on the person.
Gotcha. Lots of intuition goes into these interactions. So
Yeah.
let's try and circle back. I just want to go through these quotes and see if you guys like them or if there's any you want to add. I wouldn't go through, obviously, each interaction would just be one of these quotes. And it's kind of like priming them that this is going to be like an ethical discussion. So the first one we already talked about, good people can do bad things, but when you know better, you should do better. I kind of like that one because it's just kind of like speaking to being an ethical person, a moral person is behaving in alignment with your values. And so I kind of like that one. What do you guys think?
I think that
Yeah,
one's
it's
my favorite for sure.
yeah,
When I read through
yeah.
these.
Sorry, go on, Brian. Sorry.
Yeah, I think this one is decent in it's I think it's maybe more comprehensible for sort of like normies or people who aren't like you're ready to have like an intelligent conversation, but you're not like used to discussing ethics in a complex way. Like good people can do bad things. I feel like just the vast majority of the public can resonate with that. And then tying on the you know better, you should do better is just great framework for what's to follow, with the intent of what you're going to do as this conversation progresses. I do
Yeah.
like this one quite a bit.
The one thing that we know about most people, not all people, but the vast majority, the psychological research shows every single time that all people think that they are good and that they strive to be good, right? So even people in jail, they are sure that they had a motivation to be good, to do the bad things that they've done, basically. So yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah, and it's pretty some of these other ones maybe get a little too heady, like you're saying, Brian. So these other two, I could probably just delete since they're like the same thing. I have a principle isn't a principle unless it might cost you something. Although this one is a little different because there's like a cost, and with veganism specifically, the main cost for me has just been like becoming like a fucking doomer, and also like losing relationships and kind of like the dystopia and the depression that comes with it. That's been the cost for me. A lot of people who aren't vegan think the cost is like it's going to be really hard to be vegan. It's I'm not going to know what to eat. Like all of these things, those aren't actual costs because you figure it out pretty quick. But the cost for me is just like coming out of the fucking matrix. So I kind of like this one. I don't know. I think this third one I can just delete.
Don't
what
delete
makes a person
anything. Try anything at least once or twice.
okay. Good point. At least workshop these. This
I think
fourth
the
one
third
is a.
one.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that the third one there is maybe like my second favorite, just in the fact that I mean it really ties into we want people to act in accordance with their beliefs. Like we're gonna discuss with them what they believe, how they feel. They're gonna make these. You can ask them general moral questions, and they're gonna make claims about what they believe morally. But then it's like, okay, but are you doing those things like that? I think there's some value in the. Sure, you can have good intentions, but it's the actions that matter. I think it has merit. I think it's my second favorite in this list.
Okay, the fourth one here I think is actually Martin Luther King Jr. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. And maybe it's a little too long, a little too heady, and it might not land with a lot of people because you have to like kind of think about it. So this one might be not so good.
There is another one. What about the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing?
Oh,
There's
that's a
there's
good
that
one.
quote. Yeah.
Wait, can you say that again?
It's something like the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. Or is when good people do nothing, something like that.
I'm Googling it on the other screen so I can find the
What could be
exact
interesting
quote.
is to go out and like the first 4 or 5 times you do this is you just workshop one of these for a day, right? Like you could just
Yeah, that's what Justin says he does. He says he does the same script. So like on one day of outreach, he just does the same script with each individual. And then like he'll go back the next Saturday and then try something different.
Well, it also depends on. I wanted to say something else about those things, but it also depends on what you're doing with the footage, right? If you are recording the entire thing, if you're doing a live stream, right? So like what that cheap guy does, he goes through. He has several of those, and he goes through them throughout the live stream. But it's probably because he trialed all of them already. But like if you're live streaming and you're doing the same sentence, you're starting from the same sentence, might be boring to people. But if you're just recording them and you then at some point going to release all recordings, you can just like go one, just like rotate them, and then it's
Gotcha.
not
Let me
as-
write that down. That's a good point. If streaming,
Yeah, usually I ask people, like say a group of three different people, I ask them the same question. It's in one video, and then I cut between all three of them to like keep it, the compilation. It's like a compilation that's a bit more interesting instead of having conversation 1, then conversation 2, then conversation 3, just like split them up between each other.
That makes sense because then the whole conversation is linear, but you kind of intercutting how different people react to each question. Yep.
Yes. So it's more of a kind of sample of people's opinions than just this one conversation that you're listening in on.
Guys, also read what Alexandra is saying in the chat. But also wanted to say it could be actually like interesting if you had like also if we're talking about books, also a book of quotes, and if you had a picture of the famous person who either said it the first time or said it ever, or even I don't know, just lie about it. I don't know. But like I think when you have like a picture of a famous person, it gives it like authority. So, for instance, Martin Luther King Jr., if you have a picture of him right there next to the quote, it just gives it
gotcha.
more status,
I think,
maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Like people see that and like, oh, he was a good dude. Like there's just some psychological thing that's probably happening there, right?
Yeah, I would
Maybe,
say
like,
with someone
cards,
like Martin Luther King, but if you don't know who that person is, be careful because then they could be like, oh, this person did this. And it's like, oh no, we've derailed the entire conversation. So yeah, I'd be careful with that one, but that's definitely good if like it's someone like Martin Luther King, for example. Then yeah, it would definitely do that, I think.
There was
Yeah,
this
definitely
one guy
don't
that
pull a Nietzsche quote.
Yeah, there was this one guy that we met on VCO who was doing like a really interesting revolutionary type of activism. He was spreading posters all over his city, and within those posters there was a QR code that you could scan, and then he also had like he had like a list of which poster where it was like geologically based. So he knew exactly where the code was scanned and on which image, and then he kept like kept a list of which image worked the most, and Martin Luther King image worked the most. Like the most people like scanned it. It's not necessarily because of Martin Luther King. It could be that the picture was visually appealing in another way. But you know, imagery does, I think, work better than just words.
Okay, so this is what Alexandra posted in the side chat.
So before you
Oh, go
scroll
ahead.
on that, Joe, I mean, these images in that gore mag are pretty intense. I
Oh,
saw some
okay.
things in the chat where people were like, "Hey, I didn't want to see violence."
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll just say
I'll
out loud
look at
before
this
you
later.
scroll through this one, maybe either warn people
I'll-
or don't do it.
I'll look through that later then. Okay. So here's some follow-up questions that we could ask. So for instance, are there any examples of when you learned something new and it made you a better person to do something different? And then have there been any core principles in your life which ended up causing you to change your behavior? And was there a cost to you? And this is just to kind of get the person to speak their own story. And they don't even know we're talking about veganism yet, because that's kind of the debug your brain format is, you know, you get people to kind of sign off on all these values up front, and then they're kind of like locked in. That's kind of the intent here. So yeah, this is just kind of like trying to get a discussion going. And then I'm going to be doing this in Denver, so it's pretty left-wing city. A lot of the people that will come up might talk about some current event issues and things like that, and kind of like behaviors that they had to change. So do you guys have thoughts on these follow-up questions?
Are you
No, just
gonna?
like, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, obviously, I would like start this off with the whole like maybe like a thought experiment or like do you know who you really are? Some question mark like that. Something like that if you're gonna ask these kind of existential questions, do you know what I mean? Because I feel like they'll get kind of confused and bored quite quickly if there's not like just a warning that you're gonna build up to something. Do you know what I mean? Because they're
Yeah,
really good.
so
It's just it might not like you might not get the whole way.
yeah,
Ella,
so
you're basically telling him to do a hook.
Yeah, you're
yeah, give me
basically
the hook.
or just something like, oh, do you know who you really are? Take this experiment or something like that.
I think that sort of is that goes well
Something
with
like that.
branding the
Yeah.
video as a challenge. Like those two ideas play pretty well together. Like, do you know
So
who
this
you
would-
really are? 3-minute
Something like that,
challenge.
yeah. I can't think right now, but something that's just going to be like you're going to be asked some tough questions. You may see some tough things. It's building up to something just so that they're engaged.
Do
So
you
that
have
would
a
be right-
spine? Ask the way BPM asks everybody. Grow a
Yeah.
spine.
So do you think that would be right after, just because this would literally be like 30 seconds into the convo? This next,
It's
because it would be the quote and then kind of
it's
like
not
this.
gonna be. It's not gonna be 30 seconds though, because they'll probably go off on one.
Yeah.
Like just bear that in mind. It's never just a yep, carry on, yep. It will be like they'll give you a life story sometimes.
Gotcha.
So you
And
want
then
to
your
kind
response
of
is gonna change according to that life story, right? It's like you're
Yeah.
not gonna go through a
Yeah.
script, so you gotta be prepared. Sorry. Go
Yep.
ahead, Vijay.
No, I think basically you want to tighten it as much as you can, just because real life humans if they sometimes they just don't even want to like have this experiment. They're just like, oh, a human to speak to me, and you're gonna get like an earful. So
Gotcha.
Especially in the
Yes.
US. People in the US are so good at filibustering for ages. Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. With all love.
well, no.
No, it's true.
No offense taken.
So before
Brian,
we pivot,
not you. You said literally 3 words so far.
okay, so these are kind of like the pivoting to the moral questions. Hopefully, we don't get 30 minutes of an earful from the individual, but these are kind of like the primer questions before we get into animal rights. And so, if anyone's read Melanie Joy, she kind of goes through these 3 N's: normal, natural, and necessary. Is like the basically like almost every anti-vegan code comes down to those 3, and then there's like an optional 4th one called nice, which is like the taste pleasure. So it's like kind of the intent of this is to dispel those fallacies kind of up front, and just kind of like ask up front, in your view, what do you think justifies violence, and see what they think. And usually, I think most people will probably say like self-defense is a justifiable reason to use violence, and then just kind of see what they have to say, like what, because like violence is, yeah, it's very tricky subject to talk about. And then obviously we're leading to veganism, and so then the next question would go to, do you think if an action is natural, it is a moral justification to cause violence? Talk through examples. And then, do you think if something is normal or has been done a long time, is that a moral justification to use violence?
Joe,
And
a little
ahead.
thing maybe, I don't know, like I've been using violent act instead of violence because it like, I don't know, implies a little bit more accountability in my opinion. But I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I've just been using it.
No, I think I like that because it kind of evokes an image in your mind more than just violence is kind of just like a blurry term, but violent act, you can kind of imagine like hitting someone or punching someone or shooting someone. So I do like that.
Yeah, I think violence generally is just going to be quite blurry. But if you're like violent act, then you can refer to the violent act in future as well.
Somebody is
so
saying
yeah, I
we
think it's
should
good.
outreach rooms in Clubhouse. I didn't know Clubhouse still like a thing, frankly, but maybe somebody can get on that. Not me. Sorry. Apologize.
Yeah, so this is just kind of talking through the normal, natural, nice. And, you know, the last one here, I don't think I would be surprised if anyone I speak with IRL in Denver would sign off on this one. Do you think that if something gives you pleasure, it is a moral justification to cause a violent act? And the reason I'm also doing this is I think we can all relate that in vegan outreach and in like debates and stuff and talking to doing vegan activism, people constantly pull up this like, you're making a false equivalence. Are you seriously comparing this to slavery? Are you seriously comparing beating a woman to eating animals? It's like, I kind of want them to fill in their own blank, you know, because I've just gotten that so much, and it's so annoying because then you're like derailed. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I think your thing, I haven't tried it myself yet. I keep forgetting to do it. Where you put it in sort of like a syllogism on the fly, and just say, just like replacing the action and the justification with just like words, action, and justification. And that like also, and then you say, well, do you think like, can you think of anything that could like be like seriously wrong with this, what you just said, right? And then they, as you said, fill in the blanks. So I don't know if that's like,
Yeah, it
how
just
you were
happens.
gonna go about it.
It's just, yeah, it's just like a constant battle where, you bring up like it's been done for a long time. That's something non-vegans say a lot. It's like humans have been doing this for thousands of years, and then the vegan will instantly cut in and say like we've been doing slavery for thousands of years. Do you think that's okay? And then it's just like their brain isn't tracking at that point, and they're like, what do you mean slavery? And like we all get it because we've been having these conversations for years, but
Yeah.
so yeah, like you said, my intent or what I want to try now is just ask it back to them. Like, do you think if humans have done X or Y, or just like put a variable in there for thousands of years, do you think that is a moral act? And then they can fill in their own blanks. It's like, yeah, that's right. We have, like people used to be slaves and women didn't have rights and things like that. Because if the vegan brings it up first, they're just like, are you seriously comparing this to spousal abuse? How dare you? And I've gotten that so much, and it's just like, no, you're not understanding. I'm just using your line of reasoning with a different thing, but hopefully I want to like walk them through the line of reasoning rather than
Yeah, this wards off. Is that the right language? Well, this definitely like addresses that by asking a series of questions. So like, are you imagining you're going to ask a few of these first, or is this another like pick one, see what happens? How do you
I
envision?
kind of yeah, I
I think
guess go
I
ahead.
would
Because I
suggest
guess we want to remember that this is like maybe just like zoom out. You're imagining this is like a tabling sort of outreach. Like you're more in an Earthling Ed scenario. People are sitting down. You're having a face to face at a table versus standing as they pass by, kind of thing, right, Joe?
Yeah,
Because I don't think
exactly.
if people are just passing by, you can't get through multiple questions. But if you have like have someone who's sitting down and willing to give you 5-10 minutes, I think you could go through these. And I've
this is
definitely could imagine some people just giving you quick answers to these also. Like, do you think this last one, for pleasure, like someone might just kind of scoff, laugh, and be like, no, and then you can move on, sort of thing. Like they'll address that without Instagram brain rot sort of nonsense.
Yeah, I think I do want to have chairs so they'll sit down. So it is kind of expected that it's going to be longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I was going to say what I do, because if you're having all of these questions, I would caveat and say we're going to speed run through some questions. Because as well as that, like instead of them preempting and trying to come up with the Instagram brain rot, if they have to do it quickly, they'll just give a genuine answer rather than like a ooh, where are you going with this? So I just be like, you'd have like a hook to get them in, and it would like, warn them that there's going to be some sort of like, big question or something that's hard to contend with. It's a bit of a challenge. And then you put them down and say, look, we're going to speed run through some questions because I can just then gauge kind of what sort of person you are and, whatnot. So we're going to go through these really quickly, just kind of like yes or no, or maybe answers. Let's go. And then you're quick with it. They're quick with it. And then you've got like your answer, and you could even like point score it, you know what I mean, and say, okay, like that's interesting. So they're like, oh, where'd they going with this? And they'll probably say, the answer that a vegan would, have. And then because they've said it really quickly, not even thinking about it, they've given a genuine view. When they contradict themselves later, you can be like, remember at the start, like when we point scored this, like you said this wasn't a thing to do, and now you're doing it. So yeah, I do this. I just make it real quick at this, like a flash in time at the start.
Yeah, and kind of what I was thinking with this part is on the whiteboard, I would just write the word normal. And as I ask it, and then I'll just write the word natural. And then if they bring it,
I have an idea for you, Joe. What about like a magnetic board where you just like put question on a magnetic board and then yes or no next to it, and you can put the word normal on it as well. You have the means to create such a thing. I don't know if it would cost that much, actually, frankly.
my wife Rachel might have that already because she has so many teacher
There you go.
supplies.
There you go.
Magnetic board. She knows how to make that kind of stuff too. She does it for her classroom. Where I just have like natural, normal, nice. I'll just use pleasure probably because I think they
That's
Melanie
the-
Joy like threw nice in there. She's like, I want another N. I need it to all be N's.
Mhm.
the
Awesome.
necessary, right? Is the other N.
Yeah, so I don't want to dispel necessary up front because that one
I
is
guess
the
now you're
one.
just in a health debate if you bring that
Yeah,
up. or
then you're
something,
just
right?
like in an empirical debate about like health
Yeah.
outcome data and
Yeah, I
yeah.
wouldn't do that on the street, frankly.
exactly.
Yeah, that is
I just
like
yeah.
one of the hardest ones. Like when that comes up in like the AV stuff or just other outreach things I've done IRL. Yeah, once you get into like health conversations, it's just like that's the worst because now you're in an endless hamster wheel of just
I don't know.
not
It's
talking
my
Yeah.
about things you want to
fucking
anymore.
wheelhouse.
If
I
you
love
can,
that shit.
yeah,
I just
Yeah.
went in IRL. I'm just like, look, this is an empirical discussion right now. We don't have the ability to data share right now. Can we just be honest? How much data have you seen? Like, and usually it's like, no, I read it somewhere that the plants feel pain and they can hear themselves being it. It's like, oh, okay. So you haven't like read anything or anything like that. Just, pray out of them that they haven't read the papers because usually they haven't.
I think another thing I would do in that is just straight up ask them, like, honestly, do you think, or like say it really nice, just like, do you think you can be healthy as a vegan? And just see what they think. It's like, yeah, I know some vegans, and it seems like you can be a healthy vegan. It's like hopefully you can just like get past it like that, rather than like, well, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics states that it blah blah blah. It's like it's gonna go over their head. I feel like just it's like just level with me. Like, do I look like I'm dying here? It's like-
Yeah. And do some curls before that so that you go, eh.
well, yeah, that is. There
how are
is a
your
pull
muscle
up.
ups coming along, Joe? Have you been working on that?
I kind of fell off my Patrick calisthenic routine, to be honest, but
I'm looking
I
at my
did some
band.
pull ups the other day, and I can still do 10 in a row. I do think it would be kind of a funny prop to do this by the pull up bars at Wash Park, and if they say protein though, just be like, who do you think can do more pull ups? But it might be a funny prop for like it might be more like Instagram ready
A
type
nice
thing.
social media clip, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, remember what you did to King Guinea? You can do that. You can put that in a book. Put your meat-eating phase where you look like proper soy boy, and then when you were actual soy boy, and you're like, ugh, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, I did show that shirtless photo in the chat during that debate,
Yeah.
and he was like, "God damn."
He was pretty
And-
impressed, yeah, as I recall.
Yeah, and he's vegan, so there you go. He's vegan now.
Yes, it as brain rotted as it is, like anecdotes though seem to work with a lot of people. It's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, you seem really healthy now. You're running marathons and you're buff, and that before picture you had like a belly. It's like I could have done it either way, vegan or not. It was just like, God, I hate that that's the case. That like, if you're hot and vegan, it's like more effective or whatever. But
I wish I
unfortunately-
had more pictures of myself before going vegan, because I think I was pretty overweight. But the only picture that I do have is from my passport, which I'm not willing to show. So like, I don't know. I would have done the before and after thing. But yeah. Do
Yeah,
some
that was
more.
like my early 20s. It was like right out of college. I was working 50-hour weeks and just eating pizza every day and drinking beer every night. And I was just like got overweight. It's just like, yeah, I look like shit. And now I don't. It's just, it's not because I'm vegan now. That seems to work on people. It's just like, yeah, it's whatever. I know Danny does that on Instagram. He shows his like earlier photos. He's like acne face and like chubby, not fit, and then he's just like, look, I'm vegan now, and he's just like ripped. And I think Chip does that too. I've seen Chip post his stuff on Instagram where he's just like, that last one he did was freaking hilarious. He's like, these biceps here are definitely the result of malnutrition. I was laughing at that one.
Chip, you showed us a pic when you were a meat eater and you were a skinny boy. Did you ever use it in the past? Like, did you use it already in your videos or something?
I've not seen this picture.
Oh man, it was hilarious. He was very skinny.
Yeah, Chip, you got to start doing that. Just have like have it up on your phone or whatever, or just so you can show people is like, here I was before being vegan, and here I am after. Just like do a bicep pump on the street.
I'm gonna dig that picture up. I know where it is. I'm gonna go and go through that chat. I'm gonna find it. I'm joking. I'm not gonna do that. But
All right, I guess to keep the stream moving here, it's already been an hour. So I don't know how long this seems like a lot, but I honestly feel like this will go faster than it seems because it's like all written out here. But literally at this point, we've gotten through like 3 or 4 questions, so it's not too crazy. I feel like.
I think in someone's mind, like at this point, they might be connecting the dots. Like, oh, you gave me a vegan cookie to munch on while I'm doing this. You've been asking me these questions. I can imagine that someone might have in the back of their head, if they were, if this was something they ever thought about before, they might be, oh, are we talking about animals or food right now? I do think that maybe this is like you're pivoting now to animal rights, which is, I think that's where you're going, right?
Yeah, if we're given a free cookie, I was thinking just asking if they have any allergies, and if they say no, just give them the free cookie. Not even say it's a vegan cookie. And then after that is another little like subtle activism thing of like, this is such a good cookie. Thank you so much. It's so good. And then at the end, be like, so I'm glad to hear you like vegan cookies. Like just tell them at the very end. It's just like, yeah, like we made those this morning. They're 100% vegan, obviously.
I think it could be interesting too to have just like the accidentally vegan foods sort of have that, oh, I didn't know X was vegan kind of thing. Because there's all these things. What do you guys even eat? It's just like a lot of the stuff you're buying like actually is accidentally vegan. So that could be an interesting like.
it's the funniest when the person is literally eating something vegan and they're talking and vegan food is disgusting while they're eating vegan food and talking to an outreacher. That shit is so funny. If you could set that up, virality immediately.
Oh, Alexander's making a joke in the side chat, like doing a Pavlov's dog bell. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Like if you have the questions like and you put them on the magnetic board, just give them the yes or no. Like once they answer yes, give them the yes so that they can put it up there. So it kind of solidifies.
Oh, it's like
their answer in their
interactive.
mind. Yeah.
Let me write that down. That's great. Magnetic board, yes or no. And they interactively put it on the board. Yeah, because then when we get into like the deeper vegan talk, they just can't even they already see it. It's just like they can't even say taste though. Because it's just like I can just like I don't even have to point at it, just like look at it and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'd already signed off on you can't like use pleasure as a justification. That's insane.
And by the way, I don't know how it goes in the US, but I don't know if I would be cooking, like making cookies, and not just buy something that is prepackaged because transference of bacteria and shit. I don't know. Some people are probably feeling a certain way about it, or like put them in individuals containers. So that's I don't know.
I do think maybe like a prepackaged thing makes more sense. I have a feeling that Americans are probably a little more ready to like sue someone over something ridiculous, like just because we get the ambulance chaser vibes.
Expensive though, but I don't know. I know there are individual like Oreo cookie, individual packets. I know that.
Oh, these look good. Oh, I want these.
Nutter Butters vegan?
I love the maple leaf cookies. I had them only like once in my life, and are fucking delicious. Holy shit!
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just like give out. We always buy these. That my kids love these Nabisco grams.
Yeah.
Nutter Butters are vegan. This is changing my life right now.
What did I send, Brian? What did I send you recently? Go buy these. Wait, that's vegan? Oh, they do have these at Whole Foods by us. The 365 vanilla creams. I've had these. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just have like prepackaged shit. Oh, lemon cookies.
If you can afford it, because I suppose it's a bit expensive.
Oh, these Walmart iced oatmeal cookies? Holy shit. Okay. Good idea. Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like even the off chance that we did like fuck up cooking making the cookies and it makes people sick, that would not go over well.
Yeah. And
I think also maybe
the
the
professional
friction.
to do what they do best, right? Let the professionals do the cookies and let yourself do the talking. There you go.
Perfect. All right, so then my idea for pivoting to the animal rights is to basically get people to sign off on, and I know Justin does this. He just says like, if you saw a dog over there and someone kicking it, would you think that's bad, or like, would you want to stop them? That's the one he uses. With Brian specifically being like on the ground at Ridgeland Farms, might use that, show some images of like. So if you haven't guessed already, like we're kind of like we're kind of like animal rights people, and what do you think about like some of these images you see here? Show just like give some basic info on the Ridgeland Farm situation and how Brian specifically like helped save these dogs from these cages. And then some other examples to get people to think about it would be like horse racing, dog racing, Yulin Dog Meat Festival, dog fighting, bullfighting, and then just kind of get them to like show moral consideration for animals up front before we get to food and clothing and kind of the vegan question.
Let me ask you a question before you move on. Brian, I know you might not have like an understanding of that, but when you were going to like regional farms, did non-vegan join you ever?
They did. That was actually one of the fundamental differences of the 2 Ridgeland Farm rescues that happened this year compared to most open rescues. There were definitely, even in the first one where 500 people showed up or 500 people signed up, maybe 200 to 300 arrived. There was a large percentage of non-vegans.
That's good.
Because it's dogs. People in America, I mean, maybe everywhere, but like especially the US, like we just love dogs. So you have all these people, you can just appeal to the emotions of dogs. And the only reason there was we got over 2,000 people to sign up for the rescue that happened in April. In this case, the majority of people that arrived were not vegan. So that was like a really interesting like aspect of.
I think I would use that. I would use that at some point, right? When talking about like animal rights, it's like, because that's like really important for the non-vegans to see other non-vegans acting for animals. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people like get stuck on inaction because they have no motivation to do so. Everybody around them are not acting, right, on this principle that they now know they hold personally. And so that's like a strong thing to do. That's why, for instance, I really need to institutionalize it somehow. So my 2 worlds question, most people are going to answer that world B, the world where we don't exploit and slaughter animals for unnecessary stuff. That's the world that they think is more moral. And lately in my videos on Instagram and YouTube, I've been saying that. I've been saying most people choose world B, so that there's like a bit of a herd thing happening. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if it works.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get, maybe Chris Bryant can help since he's the research bro, but actually like get good data on people, like polling data. And maybe that's because I know Bryant Research, it did do that one that's on Our World in Data right now. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It was this one, I can find it real quick. Yeah. Most people care about farm animals. Our food system does not reflect that. And here's kind of the salient graphic from it, is that this was from Chris Bryant Research 2022. These were the questions asked to the population. I believe it was in the UK. And it seems to indicate that, most people, at least the polling sample, oh yeah, it says at the top here, survey responses were from 1,000 UK adults, seem to have vegan values. And this is where I was getting that 5 to 15% from. The green over here it's just see, this is insane to me. This is why I want to like get these questions up front, like these value questions, because when you ask an adult in the UK, do you think it's morally acceptable to cut the beaks off of newborn chickens? 5% say yes. It's just like, really, bro? But I guess these people exist, and it's just like, I don't think they're worth our time outreaching, because they think
Just would-
castrating a newborn calf by crushing their testicles, 13% of people say, yeah, that's fine.
That's crazy. That's insane to me.
You definitely don't want to spend time talking to that person.
Yeah, it's just like, there's if
Can
it's
you give
truly
Alexandra
13
the link, Joe? Can you give Alexandra
Oh,
the
sure.
link?
I'll put it in the side chat here in Discord, and also throw it on the YouTube chat. You guys should be able to click that since I'm a mod.
You guys are twinning, by the way, this entire time.
Mine came through first.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm actually gonna put it in on my site as well, somewhere.
Yeah, so I think maybe VPM, you can talk to Chris Bryant if you want to, like, in the future get polling data, maybe in the US too. I don't know who could help with
That's
that.
actually a
Maybe
really fucking good idea. I can make a questionnaire. I can make a research questionnaire. I'm pretty
yeah, I
good
think
at
that'd be
it.
amazing data to have, and have the two worlds question in there. It's just like such a simple, easy graphic to see as well. Like, you have these two worlds. One we have this, one we have this. Which one do you prefer? And if we get the same, like 90% of people already have like the vegan values, they have them. They're just not acting on them. I think that's really valuable information.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're for some reason like crushing the testicles. That the way that question is worded, and people are just like, that's acceptable. And then also the no opinion too is just like, do you think it's okay to crush the testicles of newborn cows? 13% of people are like, I don't know. No opinion. Like, really? That sounds fucking awful.
I think the people who are like no opinion are the smart ones because they know where it's going. And so they take the undecided position so that they don't have to change.
So yeah, this is so kind of the whole reason for the primer questions is to like weed out these green people, because unfortunately these people exist and they're probably always going to exist. They just don't give a shit. Oh, that's a beautiful graphic, Alexandra.
That's cool.
This is
It's
what
really cool.
she just shared.
Yeah, I showed it on screen.
Oh, okay.
Wait, Joe has left. I think maybe Discord has kicked him out, or he pushed a different wrong button or something. Oh, there you go.
How embarrassing.
Yep. Boom. I just boomed hard.
Boomer. I was gonna say. Okay. Reshare your screen though if you're gonna continue. Yeah.
Sorry
There you
about
go.
that. I pulled that image over onto my screen, and then it was the Discord screen that closed it. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the outreach doc. So one thing I'm a little confused on is how to like do this pivot to animal rights, and how to ask this question, like how to even like bring up the beagles or bring up horse racing or dog racing.
So first of all, I would bring up only one thing, and I think in
Yeah.
the US, dogs would be the strongest one. And then I would ask something like, what's like the actual difference in the animal themselves between like a dog and a pig or something like that. I don't know if people understand the word intrinsic, what it means. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like a pretty esoteric word for most normies, like intrinsic values, extrinsic or instrumental values. These are like philosophy terms.
I've been
Yeah, it's
doing
interesting, like,
something
here
lately. Sorry, go on.
I'm just sort of wondering, like, in this point, Joe, like, where, like you said, you had mentioned something earlier, like, if you can't tell, like, we're we're animal rights people. I do wonder here if we're making a statement that's like, yeah, if you haven't, connected the dots, or if you're sort of trying to catch on, like, we are animal rights people, and it'd be interesting to look at all the questions you've already answered and see how those same questions apply to the animals and how we treat them in our lives. And
Yeah,
like something
I
in
did that
that
down
realm of like,
here. So I think with that magnetic board you brought up, we would have that, and then I did copy these down here when you mentioned that earlier, Brian. So we would have like that magnetic board with those 3 or 4 questions with the yes or no, and then I would just go through the magnetic board again and say, in your view, do you think? Oh yeah, the first question is, in your view, what do you think justifies violence to animals? Because that was the very first question I had in the morals up here. In your view, what do you think justifies a violent act? Just to kind of get them to like say very little, maybe self-defense, that sort of thing. I have to change
okay,
these to
yeah, this
violent
is
act.
just go back to the same questions. You've replaced X with animals now.
Yep.
You've added specificity to the general moral question. I think this is an interesting approach. I think it could work well. Because you've already gotten people to buy off on or state their values. So now we're testing. We're just showing, demonstrating, whatever word you want to use. Like, are those values actually being acted upon?
It could be a cool trick if you could so you have like the questions on the magnetic board and you have a yes and no, right? It could be interesting if you could add to the question, just add 2 animals at the end, and then ask them, did your answer change? Something like that. It could be a cool device that would make them more connected to it, maybe, possibly. I don't know. I think
Just
people who
filling
are
in
visual.
the variable of violent act, and then just change it a violent act to animals on the end. Just like add like 2 animals with a question mark.
Yeah.
I think that would actually go hard, because they're
Yeah, I
just
think
like,
that
oh
that's
damn, I like signed off on all of these values, but now in the context of like slaughtering animals for no the only reason is yeah, I like it.
no, that's exactly my sentiment. And like reading these questions, like every one of them works by just putting 2 animals at the very end. It's like the exact same words, 2 animals, and I feel like that's just sort of like a mic drop. Oh shit, okay, I gotta really think about what I believe now. I think that works good.
And then I think I got to get this question out probably before it, because this is like the debug your brain question. He says, so is there any actions that you do that cause violent acts to animals? For instance, do you purchase or eat meat, dairy, eggs? And I remember one video he did, I like laughed out loud when he said it, but it worked really well. He was like, do you eat meat, dairy, eggs, pay for dog fights? And the lady was like, all of the above, except dog fights. What? No, I don't pay for dog fights. Or like, I guess like signing off on one of these bad examples, or like, do you eat meat, dairy, or eggs? Do you pay for beagles to have vivisection performed on them? Just like put it in the same category of like this violent acts to animals, so they can see that like we see it as the same thing.
Okay.
I think that
Is it
works, 'cause,
possible
like, in the
to maybe instead of doing question, make a statement, and then let them, instead of yes, no, agree or disagree, because then it would solve not only the question mark at the end, but also make it a little more definitive, maybe. I don't know.
it's a
Something to
nice
think
way
about.
for us to it's a good way for us to sort of control the conversation as well, kind of not leave
So
it
do you
too
think?
open-ended where they could just say random shit.
So you would say, what do you think of this statement? And then it would be, what would the statement be? Sorry.
I don't know, when you say like something like, do you think that if an action is natural, it is then moral justification to cause a violent act to animals? So you say, if an action is natural, then that is a moral justification to do a violent act. And then you can tack on to animals in the end. By the way you're deleting stuff is stressing me out. I hope you have a copy.
Okay, I'll Control Z. Goddamn.
Holy fuck.
This is just how I operate. I'm sorry it's stressing you out. Okay, I'll leave that there.
By the way, Alexandra asked if you can give her access to this afterwards.
Oh, sure, I can do it right now. I'll just copy the link. I'll put it in the Discord here. You should have, I said it's just so if you have the link, you should be able to just come in here and edit and add comments and stuff. So awesome. So you were thinking before we add the 2 animals magnetic board thing, how would I ask this? Do your attitudes change, or does your thinking change if I add 2 animals to the end of each of these and just like read them one at a time?
Yeah, I don't know. This is something that needs to be tried out on a rando
Yeah.
in Wildy to see if it actually works. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I really loved it's like a good prop, and it's like easy to follow along. You have like these 3 or 4 questions, and then you just tack on the 2 animals, and then see if their values or their attitude changes. And then if it does, just like kind of talk through that. Is like, why did you change your mind there now? Or like what?
I think it will work pretty well because like this is sort of, I mean, I guess the AV flowchart has lots of things that are not so great about it, but this is operating in a similar way of, they would ask, it used to be something like, are you against animal cruelty? Everybody says yes. And then we go through, you show them a bunch of standard practice footage. And then you get to a question that's very similar to what you have here is the last question, where we might, you would used to ask, do you think it's possible to continue eating meat, dairy, and eggs and also be against animal cruelty? And then people would like realize that there's like the disconnect in their what they had agreed to earlier and then what we just discussed. So it seems like this is doing that same thing where I do think just like adding the 2 animals at the end, like I feel like it would be effective. It's obviously you got to go try it, but my sense of having spoken to people sort of on the streets is that this will work.
Cool. And then at the very end, yeah, it is kind of like the last question after we add on the 2 animals and see if it's like if you haven't like really put together the dots at this point, like is there any last question? This is the hardest one. Is like, is there anything that you do that causes violent acts to animals? For instance, do you purchase meat, dairy, eggs, wear leather, that sort of stuff? And then see where it goes from there. And then
Can I make a suggestion? If you're gonna do such a thing, start with the shit that most people can live without. So like fur and leather, like start with that stuff, and like foie gras, and then go into things that most of them are going to be eating, because then they are like with you on something, right? Potentially, a lot of people are gonna be with you on fur and foie gras. And like horse racing, that's where you can bring like the horse racing and like that's not how you spell foie gras. But I didn't know until yesterday anyways, so I'm gonna help you out
please.
in the chat. Okay.
That's also a good Denver specific one. We actually have it on the ballot now to ban foie gras this next coming election cycle. And so people might actually already be aware of that since Pro Animal Future went around collecting the ballots on that last summer. Okay, so last question. This one is the hardest one for most people. Is there anything you do that causes violent acts to animals? For instance, do you purchase fur, foie gras? Do you attend dog races, dog fights? Do you purchase meat, dairy, eggs?
Maybe make it even into 2 separate questions.
Oh, I like that.
Just like serendipitous. I happened to be working on a video including foie gras, and so I found out yesterday how it's spelled.
Yeah, get them like, and also another thing that's been in the back of my mind is I don't want to bring up the word vegan unless they bring it up first. And I've talked to a few people with this, and they seem to tend to agree with me, because I just feel like a lot of people's brains just fall out when they hear the word vegan.
Yep.
And yeah, so like I'm not even gonna bring it up. I'll let them bring it up. It's like, oh, do you mean like, oh wait, are you guys vegans? It's like, well, yeah, we don't support any of this stuff. But it's not gonna be like the big table like debate of vegan, and then you just get like crop deaths though, and tomatoes scream and brain rot. I don't know what you guys think about that.
You definitely don't want to say vegan for sure. I think that I think that sentiment is real. As soon as you bring up veganism as a thing to be considered, people turn their brains off, they go into defense mode, they're ready to fight. God, you crazy vegans. Whereas if you're just like a normal person, what they think, because vegans aren't normal, right? That they're going to be more willing to talk to you.
I would say I would bring it up at some point in the conversation, because then it's going to give them some kind of a guideline on what to do, right? Especially if you're going to be giving them an actual guide to veganism at some point, right? And I think you should have either pamphlet or something, or like a small magnet, right? If you're going with a magnet theme, with like a QR code to Patrick's guide, or something that looks like Patrick's guide but is like specific to Denver, right? Like
Oh, I
where
love
you can buy
Patrick's
vegan
guide.
stuff. Pat has
Ye-
like, I have it on my site. Pat has like
Yeah,
a
can you
guide
link
on how
that?
to go vegan. Of course. Give me
And
one
Brian,
sec.
you did that before, right? You had like cards printed out.
I've got the cards, like my personal cards. I've also just got the like stacks of the PETA vegan starter kit,
Mm.
which is sort of it's the same thing. Like it's a little like pamphlet flyer on, eat this, not that kind of thing. Just like some quick references.
Yeah, I love
I do
Patrick's
think
guide.
that people will bring up. I totally agree with VPM that at some point we have to, hey, this is about becoming vegan. That's what we hope people do. I do think that people will bring it up. Like when we go out and do like PETA things and we're handing out plant-based cheese or doing whatever, there's always people who are like, are you guys like vegan or something? Are you guys like those vegans? Like I think it'll just naturally rise to the surface.
Yeah. So this is kind of a little bit specific to the UK. So maybe just like exchanging a few things for things that are specific in the US. Maybe even like, I don't know, give them a Tesco guide or something, or whatever food chain you have that, because food is the thing that people is gonna struggle the most with, right? And it's gonna be like the biggest change in their life, is the food thing.
Yeah, that is that in the PETA guide, Brian? Is there just like how to shop at Walmart, how to shop
Like
at Safeway?
It's mostly food because like that's
Yeah.
the way that we all interact with animals the most, on a day-to-day basis is your food.
Yeah. And like, not to sound crass, but I think like most people don't buy shoes every day. So by the next time they buy shoes, hopefully they are like fully vegan integrated and they'll know how to look for shoes themselves. But food, you like need like an immediate thing.
Yeah,
Because
it's the
people
3 times a
eat 3 times a
day.
day.
Everyone's eating constantly and is definitely the biggest input to the slaughter industry.
Yeah, the 3
Oh, and
times a day
then
is a thought-stopping cliche at this point. I eat at least 4 times a day with snacks in the middle because I lift fucking weights.
And then I guess the last thing is showing the video, the 3 minute dot what the fuck. I guess at this point in the convo, it's been a few minutes, 5-10 minutes maybe, or even longer. I guess, and I know Justin does this. He usually shows gas chamber footage from Dominion. Do you think the 3 minute video is probably just like the best thing right now? That's like short and to the point.
Yeah, I think Alexandra, if you talk to her about it, I think she has a 2 minute video that is like also really good, and it's worth like comparing the two. Like just watch the two and like maybe show somebody who's not vegan both of them and ask them which one is like more. No, I guess the non-vegan. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Just choose the between the two. But I just to say that Alexandra also has a video that she edited.
So at the bottom, I have just some random notes that didn't really hit anywhere else. Yeah, just kind of for myself, I bolded the word "you" there to like kind of up above.
I wouldn't
Just like
do
to
that.
kind of
That creates like judgment type situation.
yeah, this was just for me as I'm reading it to just like remind myself that I'm asking them their values, not someone else's, because that happens so often where it's like, well, some people say that. It's like, no, let's focus on you. Like some people say a lot of things. So that was
Cheap
just
sorry, Cheap is in the chat. The 3 minute video is pretty good. He's saying, yeah, it's fantastic. I actually started just like when people on Instagram are just commenting on steak though, or like some kind of a gif, or calling me ugly or a Jew or whatever the fuck, right? I just put that, I just like reply to them with visit my link. And not obviously those are trolls, right? So not many people actually do it, but some people who just like, put a GIF, it's the first time trolling. And I actually do have like, just from that action, the 3 minute video, I literally don't put it anywhere else, just on Instagram to trolls. And just from that, 6 people got inspired to buy vegan products, as far as I know.
damn.
Yeah.
Just from interacting with the straight up trolls with this cutting the steak gif.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it literally just like also reduced like pressure for myself to, I don't know, fight them, justify myself, say, no, I'm not ugly, you're just like coping or whatever, just, whatever.
I think I watched Justin's. He has a live stream that he has posted on. He did like a workshop on how to do outreach, and he said that this was like the hardest question that he's come up to is the person who said, I tried to be vegan and I got really sick, or I wasn't healthy, or and like how to approach that. So I kind of wrote this down as a response because it takes it to like the leather fur thing. So I wrote, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's table that and we can talk about that as I can provide resources. But I'm guessing you could at least give up leather, wool, and down, as purchasing those products also entails victims, and see if they're like actually using that as an excuse, or because if you get them to like admit, it's like, yeah, I can boycott, but it might actually just like reveal to them that they're just like using that as a coping mechanism. It's like, oh, I can't be healthy. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, another strategy that you could go is just like maybe limit yourself to, like, have you tried limiting yourself to non-sentient animals and go for oysters? I know like quite a lot of vegans don't agree with this thing, but I'm pretty convinced that oysters are not sentient, and so I don't value them as I do the sentient animals. So for me,
Yeah,
that's like a
I'm with you on that.
non-issue. Yeah.
I always address tried to be vegan, it didn't work out, I wasn't healthy. I feel like I often will say something like, it's possible to be unhealthy on any diet. And every day it's getting easier and easier to be vegan. There's more vegan options. We know more about the benefits of a plant-based diet, and it's easier to be vegan and healthy on a plant-based diet than it was in the past. I think a lot of people are like receptive to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I just was reading a research today that showed that like most people in Europe are deficient in something. And most people in Europe are not vegan.
Yeah, I know the old stat was like 40% of Americans are B12 deficient. I don't know if that still is true, but I remember reading that.
Probably not, because they supplemented pretty well, like they fortify foods, not just vegan foods, but other foods as well with B12, right? And they supplement cows and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it might be an old stat.
Yeah, so that study was from 2021, I think. Let me just look at it one sec. I have it still open because it's like was funny, tragic, hilarious type situation. Oh, from 2017, and no, like literally only like old people were B12 deficient, and it wasn't like statistically significant in the countries to like push it out of that way. But definitely folate, fiber, carbohydrates, and like iodine. Weirdly, not iodine, weirdly, but carbohydrates is like was very weird to me that most people fall
Iodine
under
is
the RDA.
Iodine is weird, and maybe it's because of the salt brain rot, Brian. People are like buying pink Himalayan salt now and shit, and they're getting iodine
Waiters.
deficient.
So actually, the researchers said that it could be because people are trying to reduce their salt intake because of heart disease, right? And so therefore they also reduce the intake of iodine, and they suggest that iodine should be supplemented slightly larger in salt, so it'll put a little more in there so that people don't fall as much.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
seems
Like in the
there's
US, we're all about our fancy salts. You go to the grocery store and you get all the pink Himalayan salts, and I've seen blue ones, I think, as well. But and it's big letters. Like Joe and I have like memed about it a lot because a lot of them ended up in my house somehow. Was like just this salt does not supply iodine, an essential nutrient.
Yeah, it says it in big letters. There's like sea salt, and then there's one in the office. It's called like real salt, and they all say this does not supply iodine, an essential nutrient. It's like, why the heck not? Like,
Yeah.
it's like because people are afraid of like chemicals, though.
Yeah, brain rot. That's why, exactly.
But yeah, there seems to be like an easy solution to everything you brought up with all that data. Is like just take a multivitamin, and I think Natalie Fulton says it brilliantly. She's like, for diet, it's like eat enough calories and take a multi, and you're like almost there, which is something I agree with. It's like there's some like little nuances, but that's like 90 to 95% of just like eat enough food. Like all these ex-vegans probably just like didn't eat enough.
Yeah,
that's like the biggest lever.
And probably like people who don't like pink stuff, not pink, sorry, orange stuff might like, so I'm not sure. Like, I don't know, my multi doesn't have vitamin A in it for some reason, which is weird as fuck. So I was like, oh, I have to go back to eating 1 carrot a day, poor me. But yeah, it still could be that people are falling under, but it's like reduces your likelihood to fall under in a way that is like, you're falling apart.
So some other random notes I had here was instead of meat, say animal body parts or something similar to that. Flesh, I think, is usually pretty good. Which is interesting in German. I think it is just the word for meat is Fleisch, right? It means flesh, which I guess I know veganism is getting more popular in Germany. Maybe that's the reason they like make the connection easier. Instead of milk, dairy, eggs, say animal secretions, just kind of like plants the seed that, yeah, these are like fluids coming out of an animal, and we're like using them for these fluids.
What are you gonna do with? Sorry to stop you, like, but like a really important question in the US. What are you gonna do with the religious folks?
So I have thought about that, and my canned response right now is, this has been my canned response for years, and I'm open to changing it. Is when someone says religion, God, or dominion, though, or something, I usually say like, would I be welcome in your church as a vegan? And I haven't gotten any no's. Yeah, it's like, would I be able to worship with you or like be welcome in your church as a vegan? And I think that just like gets them to realize like Yeah, I guess I'm just using this as an excuse, maybe. Like,
That's a really good one. I fucking have to write it down somewhere. That's really, really nice. Tone, write it down for me somewhere if you still listen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have Joe has mentioned that to me in the past, and I have done that in AV outreaches, and it has gone well. I think the slightly different phrasing of could you eat a plant-based diet and be vegan and still practice your religion? Similar thing, and like people like, well, I guess Christians tend to always say yes, is what I've noticed.
I think
yeah, we're gonna.
I think what Joe said actually, I think potentially works better because churches are trying to be more inclusionary in the US. That's my understanding of it. So it
Especially in
just
Denver,
sounds
all the churches
Yeah.
have rainbow flags here. They're all like inclusive. We love, yeah.
Church
yeah,
is
something
Columbus.
about that like is gay to me about that question. Would I be welcome in your church as a vegan? That's gay, and that's good.
And yeah, we are kind of trying to filter out like religious, like right-wing bigot Trumpers. Like, obviously at this point in the convo, like if I'm pretty high credence that they're like a Trump supporter, we're probably not even going to be having the convo at this point. Or if they're like misogynistic or homophobic or transphobic, it's like at this, like, you don't even value human rights. It's like I don't even want to talk to you, honestly.
Here's the thing though. Somebody should fucking veganize them because most farmers are gonna be right-wing nutters. So somebody should fucking veganize the right wing. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
not
know
gonna
how
be
to-
you, but somebody.
Well, it's just like my whole valid argument. I sent it to you yesterday. We haven't reviewed that yet, but like my whole valid argument is like if you value human rights, then you should value animal rights. And if they don't value human rights, it's like my argument falls apart. It's like, oh, I don't like people. It's like I don't even value
mean-
certain humans. It's like
Here's the thing though, right? Like, my argument also falls on that. In the end, it uses that thing exactly. But here's the question, right? How many people are gonna say, yes, I believe in human rights, but then they're gonna exclude like trans people, gay people out of that? But at least they're gonna agree with you that human rights are important. They're just gonna like exclude a couple of people out of it. So do you have to like at that moment talk to them about gay and trans people? Can you just talk to them about the rights to humans that he accepts should have rights?
yeah, it's a tricky question. And I guess I'm not gonna like switch to be a gay rights activist on the spot. I would probably just be like, I'm focused on animal rights today. But I think at this point in the dialogue, like we're this deep in the tree, we had like the magnetic board and putting violent acts to animals on it, and they've all signed off on that. It's like at this point,
yeah.
Also, just the demographic we're going for, like this is going to be like in the city in Denver. It's pretty low likelihood we have like a straight up like bigoted, unless like someone's dad is visiting.
But here's the thing, maybe we should do it one day. Maybe we should like write a dialogue tree for right-wingers.
Yeah, I've seen the Earthling Ed videos where he goes to like rodeos and shit, which is like really brave, honestly. That I don't know if you guys have seen those. Like he like went to Texas to like the freaking rodeo or like the stock show.
Yeah.
I know, Brian, you can probably speak to that. You've done protests at the stock show in Denver. Everyone comes in from Farmville and they probably like were yelling shit at you, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, those
stupid
are
liberal.
some of the most hostile environments. Oh yeah, that was great. There was some kid like even was like filming me. Sort of depressing, really. Like he's filming me, and I've got, I have a decapitated cow head that I take to these sorts of events, and then you got your vegan messaging or just like animal rights stuff, rodeos. But there's some kid who's filming me, and he's like, "Go back to California," as he's filming me, and it's clearly just been impressioned by his parents. It's just like, hey, 4th gen Colorado native, actually, but thanks. Like, you definitely get the hostile folks.
I was on the Mayflower directly to Denver. I don't know if Denver existed during the Mayflower.
Yeah, Denver, I think they settled here like during the gold rush. This was like a waypoint, I think. But yeah, that's way beside the point. And either way, like, yeah, the Denver Stock Show is like one of the largest animal abuse displays in the country. It's like a huge thing every year. They do this crazy thing called mutton busting, where they have little kids ride on little sheep,
Yeah.
and like how long can they stay on the sheep?
Yeah.
So like they're not only abusing like the sheep, obviously they're really scared. They're like abusing their children who don't consent to this. They like don't know what's going on. They're like, get on there, Dorothy, and they're like 5-year-old kids
Bruh.
like wearing helmets. It's literally crazy shit to me.
Bruh. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those and it's like horrendous.
I wrote down the Justin one. He said, if you saw someone passing by and they were beating their dog, what would you do? That might be a good question to bring up, like in the middle of a conversation. And then the 3 sub questions to that would be like, would you just ignore it and move on with your day? Which would be like, actually, that is like almost analogous to being just like a practicing vegan, is like you're just like not participating. Would you stop the person from doing it? Which would be like analogous to stuff Brian does, which is like actively going in and like stopping these actions. And then the third one is like, or would you join in and help the person beat their dog and help them pay for it? Which would be analogous to being a non-vegan. Is like you're actively like giving money to these people doing these acts. And then I think this is the last note I had written down. Oh, this is with the dog question again. Sorry, I got off track there because that wasn't indented. Would this behavior that you see as morally wrong somehow retroactively become a moral good if the dog were to be eaten afterwards?
That's funny.
Which is-
That's good.
Nice.
Make it simpler, man, though. Make all of those
Yeah,
questions.
I'm such a Phil bro.
Hold
I know.
on. Hold on. I have a visual in my head. So it's like 4 squares. All of them have relatively the same amount of words in them. Make it work. So just like same length sentences for all of them. Let me try to do it for you.
Oh, and these 4, yeah.
Yeah. So
I also had that written above at the Ridgeland Farm thing. This was kind of like the short dialogue tray I had for like Ridgeland Farms. Get them to sign off that beagles were bred for that purpose, and it's still morally wrong. And then ask them if it would be morally okay to do this to the beagles if the cages were bigger, if they were free-range beagles. And then the last one would be like, would it be moral to do this to these beagles if they were slaughtered for food in the end? And it's just like, I feel like most people in Denver just be like, no, that's insane. It's just kind of like getting out like the bigger cages thing, like happy farms. Like we can have a happy dog farm where we then experiment on them. It's like, no, I don't think that works either. Because these dogs are like kept in the worst possible conditions. They're like tiny cages. They're stressed out. It's like loud and scary in there.
bro, I want one of those beagles so much. I want to hug them and give them a good life. But I'm allergic to dogs.
Oh,
And to taking care of anybody, frankly. I'm allergic to that as well.
I'm gonna write the note you said. Make these questions around the same length. That might be another. So like maybe this would be like a magnetic board scenario with the animals, but this would be like another version of the magnetic board with the
Yeah.
dog question.
Yeah. The thing with magnets, you can put magnets on top of magnets, right? So you can keep covering the board with magnets.
So that's basically the whole doc. I don't know if you guys have any other comments or questions or feedback. This is just like a lot of thoughts going through my mind. I want to be like just an effective communicator. And also, I don't know if I wasn't looking at the YouTube chat if anyone had any.
Well, Brian was
stuff
active,
to-
so it's okay.
I don't think from the chat we have anything right now.
Yeah, guys, if you have any suggestions, definitely become part of this, right? Not you, corn dude, shut the fuck up. But anybody else, anybody who has a brain and is there for vegan, are welcome to give us suggestions.
There was the random comment.
Oh,
a
we do have
couple
Corn
times.
Dude in the chat. Let's get Corn Dude.
He's not gonna. You don't want to talk to that brain dead person. I'm just keeping them around because they keep commenting on all of my videos.
Come on in, corn dude.
And
Do
that's
you want
just
to have a
like
3v1
increases.
vegan debate?
It just increases. You don't know how much Google/YouTube knows about you. It just increases the chances that people who are generally like you but less brain dead are gonna come and watch my videos, and might go vegan. So I appreciate your activism support. It's really
Thank
really
you.
important.
Thank you for being here, corn dude.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Stay around. Be the troll. You're helping the algo for the vegans. Thank you.
Corn is
Oh, is corn vegan?
No,
Oh,
Jason's
no.
corn.
Oh, yes.
is vegan.
Corn. Yes, corn dude. You're eating vegan food. Corn is vegan. What are you doing, bro?
It's fine.
One of the other, I guess, random thoughts I'd had during all of this was, or maybe it was when, yeah, you're talking about pivoting to animal rights. It's just like the subtle language things of, it goes back to mirroring the person's emotions, sort of. I think we also want to like validate and make the person feel, validated through this conversation to a certain extent, where it's like you have, what I try to do a lot in like the AV things is just agree with people. It's like, you would ask a question, how does this make you feel? They say, oh, it makes me feel terrible. And it's like, yeah, like it's really bad. And it's really common for us to feel that way. So I think after we ask the initial, like in your general moral questions, now that we've asked these questions and we agree on a lot of the answers, then you can start to pivot. So I think just sort of making a statement at some point that like you agree with them on their answers, I think that's valuable. And a lot of what I do when I try to speak to people is I try to use the word we, where I'm talking about like humanity, where it's like, yeah, we do a lot of bad things to animals, or we do these things to animals. It sort of just helps it not be a us versus them situation until it kind of needs to be like where you're really like having to like set defenses. Like that's when you're in like debate mode, but we're trying to not be there. So I think it's interesting to try and valuable to try and almost stay on their side to a certain extent, show them that you agree, you hear them, and like, I don't know, that's my sentiment, I guess, in complete
Yeah, I
thought.
think essentially that's right. Like we're all on the same. Going back to this freaking chart, or this graphic, it's like we're all on the same team. We're all against this shit. It's just like there's some block with carnism, just keeping people from behaving differently.
If I'm not gonna say something, I'm gonna explode. Can you go back to your doc for 1 second? Go to the place where it's like the question and then you add two animals. What if instead of like adding two animals, you say at first to a dog and then to a pig or something like
Ooh.
that?
He sore writes it. Just
Yeah. You individualize an
spectrum.
animal, you giving them one animal, first of all, and that's like important because they can like feel a connection. They can imagine one animal in front of them, whereas like more animals becomes like amorphic and you like become less empathetic towards like a lot of beings, but one being, it's like important.
Oop.
It like makes them think about it. So it's such a
Where did I put
situation.
where did I put that quick graphic I made? I know I sent it to you guys in the Insta DM, with like the arrow going up with
Yeah.
with like a doggy and
And
at the top.
Albert Einstein for some reason.
Yeah, Einstein
Weirdo.
was at the top.
I mean,
Where did
yeah,
I-
like the smartest person, and then there's a dog under them, not as smart as Einstein, but and then like pigs and chickens after that. Yeah, it's really funny. But like
I would
you,
have
you
to-
remember that
yeah.
PETA billboard? People did the same thing. They just like cut off where the animals.
Yes.
So it doesn't necessarily make people think. It makes some people think, but not others. And others are just like, yeah, this is a pig, this is food, this is a dog, this is pet.
Yeah, what's funny about that PETA billboard thing is when the people try to like meme against it, they're proving PETA's point that you are drawing an arbitrary line. Like, yeah, good job, bro. You just like proved their point that you just like drew like a freaking arbitrary line between a rabbit and a horse or something.
Yeah, but rhetorically, right? Nobody gives a shit about this. Rhetorically, it's a win for the carnists. So, okay, guys.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I need to pee.
Yeah.
unless you have other questions, unless somebody has something to add in the chat. Brian, you on it? You're looking for it? I think we can close the stream, maybe.
Yeah, guys, thanks for the workshop. Really appreciate the time, and I'm excited to get that booklet. I think just having that there will be like really helpful during just kind of like a conversation on veganism. Is just like those images, the analogies are going to be super helpful. Just have those there, and then yeah, the video.
Watch one of Alexandra's videos. It's like really, really effective. It's really cool.
I shall.
Yeah. All right.
And then Brian,
sorry, go on.
yeah, the PETA giveaway thing. Where can we access those, or can you just like get them from PETA, or?
Yeah, I was going to look. It seems pretty useful, and it does have like a weekly food guide. I have a bunch of them, but I'm sure we can get more of them. I know they're free. You can just order them. They send them to you. There's people locally that we could probably just go get a box to have.
All right.
Someone
I don't
that
know
made
what
it.
about I need to pee wasn't like of interest to people, but I'm suffering at this point because I was like, oh, I'm living in 1 minute, and then you guys continue talking. So none of that. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. I think that's a good starting point. I didn't think I would have much to add, but I actually had a few things to add, so I appreciate that, guys. Chat, thank you very much. See you later. Bye.
See ya.